So this morning I caught a few minutes of Dilbert creator Scott Adams' live stream, which he does from, I guess, his kitchen. And he was saying how he doesn't like how analogy is being used to equate things that Trump has done or said to things that are like, for example, the Nazis. Well, we don't have to use analogy anymore because Donald Trump is now using actual Nazi language to refer to immigrants, and his supporters are just eating it up because they can finally feel okay about harboring some of these horrible beliefs about people that are different from them. And I'm talking specifically about the word infestation. Donald Trump tweeted yesterday, Democrats are the problem. They don't care about crime and want illegal immigrants, no matter how bad they may be, to pour into and infest our country like MS-13. They can't win on their terrible policies, so they view them as potential votes and voters. And as usual, it's sort of couched as if he might be talking just about MS-13 members, but the language is always there. And you'll remember America First. America First was pseudo-jingoistic, but it referenced horrible movements in this country's past. Infestation is straight out of Nazi language used to dehumanize Jews during the Holocaust. Am I saying Trump is Hitler? No. Am I making an analogy of some kind, which Scott Adams apparently would be displeased with? No, I'm saying he's using the same language about Latino immigrants that Hitler and the Nazis used about Jews. And back in the Holocaust era, Nazis would talk about Jews as rats and vermin and how their presence is an infestation. And this is a trend with Trump. It's when you look at the progression, right? There's his classic, which was something like, I'm paraphrasing, they aren't sending their best people, they're sending the rapists and the criminals, and some, I assume, are good people, something like that. Back in April, I told you about Donald Trump choosing to use the word breeding when referring to Latino immigrants having kids. Once again, it's dehumanizing language referencing animals. And I don't even believe for a second that Trump's coming up with this language on his own. I think that his vocabulary is being seeded by someone at the White House, probably Stephen Miller, but it doesn't matter, right? Because whether Trump is coming up with it himself or he's getting it from somebody else like Stephen Miller, its impact is the same. And when you look back in history at major mass human rights violations, what precedes them is the dehumanization of the targeted group. And that dehumanization starts as linguistic dehumanization. If you don't see them as people, or at least not people like us, then it's more likely that you will look the other way when they're eventually mistreated. And the first colonizers of the United States did it to Native Americans. The Nazis did it to the Jews. Many other examples, Rwanda, Bosnia. This is the pattern. And I hate to break it to everybody who's hearing me say this and they're sort of hoping for or expecting some Republican awakening around this vile language. It's not going to happen. Pat, he has been saying this stuff for a long time, and they voted for him anyway. They don't care about this language.
Oh, they like it. He's appealing to his voters, particularly the ones in the Midwest and the West, you know, that Rust Belt area, those who live in rural communities across the entire country. And many of those people, they may not know a Hispanic person, they may not know a Muslim person, and that's how he gets away with it.
The only way that he will not get away with it is if we vote them out, because the Republicans aren't going to help. And in addition to voting in November, a few other ideas for what you can do. Number one, don't stop emailing, don't stop writing physical letters, don't stop calling your representatives. Demand a bill to stop the policies that are seeing kids separated from their parents and put in de facto internment camps. Do not stop talking about it on social media. The takeovers of websites that we saw around net neutrality, remember websites darking out, blacking out their normal content on a particular day in support of net neutrality? We should be seeing the same thing around this issue. And there are also some organizations that are working on this. If you can donate, then do. We're linking to a bunch of those organizations in the description to the YouTube video for this story. And most importantly, get people registered to vote, as many as you can. Vote.gov. I gave some much more complicated URL earlier in the week. Vote.gov. Vote.gov will tell you exactly what you need to do to get registered in your state and get ready to vote in November. I'm worried that too many people are not going to do it. And I'm increasingly worried about that. And I'm being upfront with you about that because hopefully people will hear me and they'll say, I can't allow that to happen. Not only am I going to vote, I'm going to get other people to vote. But I am increasingly scared about the voter turnout from the left in November.
I'm very worried that the Democrats won't win back the Senate or even the House. And I guess we'll cross that bridge once we get to it.
Yes.
But we got to do it. We got to turn out.
What we know is that there are many bridges we will not be crossing in 2019 and 2020 if Democrats don't take back the House and Senate in November.